Mike.
Hot mic.
Here we go.
We're on. We have entirely too much fun.
Oh, we do.
We do. Behind the scenes, on the camera. Hey, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here. You know what? This is a good stuff.
Yeah.
Give me some.
All right.
And give us some. Virtual high five out there. Nice. Okay. And by the way, high five to June Ebinger from Millville, New Jersey.
All right, June.
New Jersey wins.
Sweet.
Wins.
Ooh, live on Instagram. Instagram.
I know. And look at what she won. Wow.
Oh, Hollis Products. Sweet,
Yeah,
sweet, sweet.
Hollis.
So they're going to get some good CBD
Stuff.
CBD stuff. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, Jared wasn't as specific this time. Usually it's like a paragraph.
Yeah,
of things.
exactly.
But June, congratulations. Well done. Well done.
We hide giveaways. Look at that. Remember to interact with our stories. Sometimes we hide giveaways there. So Jared, our social media guy, he's hiding presents inside.
Treasure hunt.
Treasure, yeah.
What
So
is
go interact with our stories. We have a bunch of them up there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to go look.
We can start winning. Today, Randall, you won last week too. Can you please give some other people a chance?
Could you do something else? Yes. Drink more bourbon. Okay. Thank you for being here. By the way, if you're new here, thank you for being here. We love your questions. So this is a no holds bar session. So ask your questions. We have a team that is ready. Q, Eli, Lucas.
Yeah.
We got.
Well, look. I have something. There's such a thing as smart questions, and we get a lot of smart.
And then there are my questions.
I wasn't going to say that, but
I saw it.
But we get a lot of smart questions from our
do.
audience,
Yeah.
and it just goes to show you that they're engaging, they're out there, they're reading in the blogosphere or whatever they're doing. Lots of great questions are coming in all the time,
Really
so
good.
we really appreciate that.
So thank you. Keep them coming, and I mostly appreciate the smart ass questions.
Hey,
he likes the heady thinking
it's
questions.
The chemical questions are fun. They really are.
Well,
they get me thinking,
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Process questions, business questions, everything. We're here. And today, we've got some insider secrets happening today.
Yeah. Advanced Secrets of the Universe, also known as Insider Sequence.
Insider secrets to selecting your processing partner. That's today. Okay, but if you're new here, enable pop-ups so that you can talk to the bot, and the bot will welcome you. Introduce yourself, please, to the bot and to our team. They're kind of behind the bot so that you don't feel like you've been abandoned. If there's too many of you asking questions, then you're just going to get, really cool answers from the bot.
Yeah.
And
random questions, like random thoughts of the universe that are selected randomly from the internet.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so be careful with that guy.
So challenge the bot. And Eli, Q, Lucas, you're on. Thank you for fielding questions. And we're here. There will be a replay. If you have a frozen screen, press the reconnect button at the top center of the video window. It doesn't it doesn't boot you out and then you have to relog in. It'll just refresh and it's perfect. So there are going to be some polls. We're going to have some giveaves.
Downloadable
giveaways.
Yeah.
Yep. That are going to be very helpful for you in the grow and farming area. So that's good. Explore our resources, live tour, CBD jam sessions, extraction guide, distillation guide, our calculators library.
Product tours. Don't forget
product tours.
Those are different than live tours.
Yes, they are.
Okay, the product tour, just to let everybody know, if you want to learn a little bit about, the features on each of our pieces of equipment, there's product tours.
Yes.
And you just hover over the image and it'll pop up with here's what
it's very cool.
Yeah. So
it's great. Good. I thought really good stuff. So spend some time there. Our mini course library, we got more mini courses coming as we go. So today we're going to be talking a lot about how to select a processing partner, how to qualify them, how to drive them crazy, that kind of stuff. So this is everything to do with the hemp industry. If you're a hemp processor, a hemp investor, if you've got hemp biomass you want to sell or process, or you're growing, you're trying to figure that out, we're going to have a few sessions just specifically to you guys. And we've got a special coming up at the end of the show that we want to talk to you about. So stay to the end. CBD processing, investing in hemp, hemp processing equipment. We have all of that pre-extraction and post-extraction as well.
All right.
We got a lot of good stuff.
It's going to be
now,
good.
I know we've got, you've got, I think, 480 slides.
With 10 tables.
10 tables.
Yeah.
Woo. Yes. We love tables,
Okay,
don't
this
we?
is going to be a monologue for the next hour, so stay tuned.
It's not quite
It's
that
not- no,
many,
it's not.
but I have to make fun of them. That's
Don't.
my job.
It's content.
That's my job.
Content.
It is very good, vital
Hilarious.
content.
Okay.
So stay. Did I miss anything?
Inc. 500.
Oh, yeah. That was excellent. Okay, so we get this in the mail, right? Inc. 500, the unveiling.
Wow.
Look at that. Pretty cool. Okay, we made the Inc. 500 as one of the fastest growing companies in America. We are number 202. 202. So look for us in there and check us out. And by the way, you got a letter from them.
Did I? Really?
But they didn't call you Dr. John.
Oh.
That kind
They
of
spell my name right? Jon?
Jon.
Okay, that's good.
ATH.
Yeah, well, yeah, I go by Jon.
Jon.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard you call yourself many other things.
Yes.
And-
great one.
Yes, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel had an article. Sarah Hauer, thank you for that. Shout out, Sarah, on talking about us as being one of the fastest growing companies in Wisconsin also.
All right.
Well
Great.
done.
Great.
Good job.
All right, that's
All
fun.
right. So without any further ado, let's get into insider secrets for selecting
Insider
your
trinkets?
Insider trinkets. You know, I guess I'm into trinkets today. Gifts, trinkets, giveaways.
Whatever, it happens.
Downloads.
Yeah.
We got it.
We
We got
If
surprises.
you need it, we got it. It's all right here. So let's see here. Let's cut over to the presentation. Here's insider secrets to selecting a hemp processor.
I like it.
Is it processor or processor?
Yeah, it depends on
Depends
if you're
where
from
you-
Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
Canada, it's processor.
It's a processor.
A processor. And that is actually grammatically correct because when the vowel precedes a consonant followed by a vowel, it's long.
Oh, wow.
I know. Linguistics.
Burn.
Touche.
Okay, this stuff that we're going to be going over is way more interesting than the little lesson that we just got. Okay, so here's the outline, guys. That's
Okay.
no problem.
Let's go.
Here we're going to go over some criteria for evaluation of a processor. So if you're a farmer or if you're an investor involved with a farmer and you want to basically process your crop, not all processors are equal, so you're going to want to apply some criteria for your selection of where you're going to send all your stuff. Okay.
Good.
And so that is a criteria for evaluation. We're going to go over some of the criteria that we apply, and then also Shazam!
Oh, Shazam.
We have a very detailed list of basically a vendor qualification guide.
Where's Shaq?
So I don't know if you saw that. Here you can see. Look at this. It's actually multi-pages,
Look at
hundreds
that.
of questions, a detailed list just for you. Okay. Then we're going to go into basically how to prepare your crop for your processor.
Beautiful.
Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about setting expectations. Setting your own expectations, and then also setting the expectations of the people around you.
Okay.
If you told everybody you were going to be a millionaire with your 50 acres of CBD hemp crop, you're probably not going to be.
Oh.
So you need to set your expectations properly, and transportation, how to transport, and just some things there.
The
Tips,
millions, are we
tricks.
talking about?
Yeah, tips and tricks, and the millions that you're going to be putting into your trailer and handing off
Into the Brinks
to
truck,
your processor. So that's the outline. We're going
Love
to kind of go
it.
over it. Yeah.
Okay.
Give you a little clue here. Okay.
You know, why it looked like you finished this one, the criteria, because it had a check mark next to it.
Oh, you mean this right up here? You mean the
last one, yeah.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it's already done.
That's it. That is our criteria. You want to know about our criteria? That's our criteria.
Done.
Check.
Okay.
It's done.
We're
The criteria is done.
Moving on to preparing your crop.
Okay, so here's the criteria for evaluation. Okay.
Oh, okay.
These are just some things that
Pretty colors.
yeah, I've kind of been colorizing it a lot lately.
Yeah, this is nice.
You know, yeah,
I like it.
It's all nice complementary colors too. You notice that?
And I like the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, this is like new
It's
for
not.
you.
It's not even
It's
a
not
real
a table.
Wheel. Look
it's
at this.
a wheel.
Look, it's got little wings on it, like it's spinning. Oh yeah, I like that.
it.
So
Nice.
let's just kind of go over some of these things. By the way, if you want to get the evaluation criteria, you want to get the downloadable checklist, the awesome checklist. It's not a little rinky-dink, 3 question.
pretty exhaustive.
It is super exhaustive. Okay, if you want that, just interact with the bot. Put your name in there, tell the guys you want it, and they'll send it to you, okay?
Yep.
So here it is. Let's just go look at this from a 30,000 foot level, okay?
Okay.
You're going to want to make sure that your processor has quality systems in place. The quality system can be made up of a couple different things. It can be a GMP quality system.
Yep.
It can be a combination of a GMP organic, type of quality system. The third thing it can be is like an ISO system. Okay, so usually you want to select for those processors that have gone through a quality check. In other words, a third party has come in and given them a certificate for compliancy to that particular quality system.
Beautiful.
Okay, and that includes like organic certification. I mean, if you're getting organic materials processed, you're going to want to make sure that you go to an organic processor so the oils that you get back are organic and can be certified organic.
Right.
If you go to any other processor or you yourself are not certified for processing in an organic sense, then you can't really label those legally as organic. That's one thing. GMP basically is another quality system that third parties, either the state and or third parties, come in and qualify you to certain different,
manufacturing practices.
Exactly.
Good manufacturing practices, which is GMP.
Yeah, so usually they certify you to 21 CFR Part 111, 110.
Yep.
There's a different sets of rules with each of those different parts. Okay, so you would want to know, okay, what have you been certified to? Is it a food safety standard, or is it a nutraceutical standard, or what is it? Okay,
sure.
So those are the things that you want to ask your your
So those
processor.
are the quality systems
Those are the quality systems. Yeah. Why is that important? Well, you know that first of all, it'll probably take them longer to process, number
Sure.
one. But you can be assured that there's all kinds of checks and balances that are built into the process that are meant to ensure the quality of the output, and also the quality of the oil that you're going to be getting. So it's a lot of things. I think that's probably actually one of the number one things, and tied for the number one thing also would be like customer service.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's kind of like, okay, if they don't have a quality system, don't go there at all. Or if they aren't working towards a quality system, they don't have a compliant quality system, or you can ask them specific questions, again, that are in here, that would allow you to understand what is the functioning of their quality system. Then the second thing really is the customer service side of it.
Yes.
In other words, how are these guys going to be? Do they pick up the phone?
Do they interact? Do they communicate? Or do they go dark?
Do they go dark? Yeah. Or do they not talk to you? Or, whatever it is. Now, there's all kinds of startup operations out there. And a lot of times what you want to do with those startup operations is make sure that if you're going to work with a startup operation, that's really great. Just know that you're going to be interfacing with those guys. You're going to be interfacing with them, and you're going to want to make sure that they have a good, customer service function.
Absolutely.
In other words, they're going to be calling you, or they're going to let you know where they are in the process, or have some sort of someone you can get a hold of, basically.
Yeah, and somebody who's actually going to answer your questions and not just keep trying to sell you something.
Right.
They're going to, educate you, help you with the problems that you're having.
Right.
And that's a good quid pro quo.
Yeah, a good customer service. A lot of people see, okay, well, that's not good customer service unless I'm happy. Okay, the customer service is not there to actually make you happy. The customer service is there to give you the real skinny.
Yeah.
The real
to
dope.
help you solve your problem.
Yeah, they're there.
It may not be the solution you really want.
Right, but they're there to give you the okay, so how long is this going to take me? Well, you have 500 pounds left in inventory. You have 600 pounds in crude, and you have 600 kilos into distillate.
Yep.
And it'll take another 4 weeks to get through that, or 10 weeks, or whatever it is. Okay?
Whatever
it is. That they should be able to give you that info.
Absolutely.
Customers who are using the IGW lab, and they're using that, will be able to basically, with a push of the button, as long as they're using the system, they'll be able to tell you all those things.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
so that's
very good, and because that is A manufacturing efficiency system.
Manufacturing execution and quality. Yes, all
it's
that.
all of
So,
that.
yeah, so
It helps your efficiency.
right.
So it's an execution.
Yeah,
system.
and it basically it will help you mistake-proof your operations,
Which is beautiful. So as part of this criteria, as Dr. John's going through this, remember that the processor is actually a manufacturer. And you're contracting with them to manufacture, to process your biomass into something saleable.
Right. So from an investor standpoint, okay, I'm investing in, say, a grow operation or a farmer field, right?
Yep.
I have a couple $100 in seeds, and I probably got another couple 100,000, all told for say 100 acres or something like that. You're going to want to make sure that, the place that you're sending all that material to is going to, give you the right materials, and you're going to be able to get a hold of them. Let's talk also the third leg of the stool, actually, and that would be opt for clinical grade oils. So no surprises, guys, that this is in here. I consider it to be important. There are a lot of different ways to process your crop, okay, and mainly I think clinical grade oils are the most saleable oils. And you're going to be reducing all kinds of risks for residuals in your oils if you go with a CO2 processor. Sure. So that's just that is. Now, a lot of people argue with me and they say, oh, well, after distillate, you can't see it. And those guys have only used GC Headspace. Yeah. If you use other more sensitive techniques, GC Headspace is not a sensitive technique at all. It says there's nothing in there, but guess what? There's all kinds of stuff in there. You just can't see it because the limit of detection is too high.
You sound like an analytical chemist.
Yeah. Well, look, at the end of the day, I feel it in my bones.
It's all in there. And hence, that's why.
We can see everything.
Yeah, that's why in the industry, we even call, just going at a high level, there is no such thing as T-free.
No, there's not. There's always going to be a molecule or two. And we can see the molecules.
And that's why the FDA prefers you to use THC non-detect.
Right, exactly. Good point. Wow.
Ooh, I'm done for the day.
I think we better stop now.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Okay, let's talk about price. Everybody wants to know price. Okay, look, price and flexibility of terms. There's a couple different ways to get your crop done. And that would be, there's the split idea where, okay, I've done the work, I get all my biomass and I send it to a facility and then we split the outcome or something along those lines.
If they're processing it to distillate or oil or isolate, then whatever that end is, there's some element of split.
Right, exactly. Now, the processor is going to have his own or her own criteria for you. Yes. The processor is not going to spend, 80 days working up a bunch of sticks or moldy material or material that's been run before or any of that other stuff or a heavily seeded material. Okay, these are all things that are known defects within a hemp crop. So, don't be that guy who delivers that on a split. Most of you guys are going to do a toll.
Yes.
And the toll is where you just pay per pound.
Yes.
And that actually works out well because then you own the output of that. And the processor should be able to tell you, and I'll get into, this is where really setting expectations is really important. And that, the processor should be able to tell you what your yield is. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and there's a price with that. You can go shop the price. Sure. Around for how long. And then testing availability, you want to make sure that, first of all, they're going to be able to test it at the very beginning and give feedback to you. Hey, this is how much you have left. This is how much you should have. And then the testing throughout the process. Okay. So you can understand where all your materials went. Yep. And then also capacity and timing, which is important.
Yes.
You're going to want to make sure that you have capacity. So
that's where you're going to get in the queue. So just because it shows up at the processor doesn't mean they're ready to process it.
Right.
They may have 17 clients ahead of you.
Yes.
So make sure that you define that and set those expectations. Right. That's what this evaluation criteria is all about, is making sure you understand their process.
Right.
And that they understand what you can bring to them to make it more effective and more efficient for you to get that to get the best pricing and the best service.
Exactly.
Good.
So yeah, that's the capacity and timing. Now, all of those items are really detailed in this document here. Again, put your name into Drift, and we'll send that off to you guys.
Yeah. Eli, Q, Lucas are going to send that out to you.
Right. So okay, so let's kind of move on from that. I mean, those are what I consider
really
to be
good.
advanced secrets.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's a good wheel. I like the wheel.
The
It
wheel.
looks kind of like a water wheel with the little fins on it. I like that.
That little wheel of power.
Wheel of processing power.
Okay. So how to prepare your crop for processing. Notice I have little circles in the background.
I like the little, this is nice.
Yeah, I did that. I did that. Crop circles, get it?
Did you draw those circles yourself?
Okay, here's the process.
Are you a
Harvest,
pirate now?
dry, shuck and buck, and package. Okay, this is the process.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing.
How do you prepare your crop for processing? So this is what you're doing.
Okay.
And you're going to have to go through each one of these steps. We're not going to talk about harvesting today. Just suffice it to say that there's a lot of different ways to harvest it. You got manual techniques, actually going and cutting and things down, And
that's typically in the fall. That's why it's orange.
Exactly. And then you have a combine.
Yeah.
You can do it with a combine.
Wow.
They have special attachments, and sometimes they have those cutters that they put on the side of a tractor that kind of flip down, and they have little sharp blades on them, and they go across. Yeah. So a lot of people do it that way. Whatever. So just go ahead and
tractor sickle.
Yeah. See what you can do with harvesting. I'm not going to talk about that. I have seen some very cool harvesters. Have you seen any mechanized ones? I mean, for hemp. Okay,
not,
it's
well,
pretty
not
cool.
as much for hemp. But.
Okay, well, there are a lot of innovation going on there. Of course, the big machine companies are trying to, capitalize on it, and some people are growing, thousands of acres. A lot of different. You would harvest it in different ways depending on what your crop was. If you're growing for fiber. You're going to have to, it's a back of the tractor type of thing. If you're growing for CBD or CBG or one of the other cannabinoids that's available and allowed, then you're probably going to you're going to be doing more manual techniques. So that's kind of how it works. Okay. Well, you got dry, shuck and buck, and package. So let's just kind of move on to the drying side of this. Okay, a couple different ways to dry. Obviously, you need to let it, one way to do it is let it sit in the field. In the summer, the air is full of water due to the humidity and the dew point and all of that stuff, right? As soon as fall hits, we're coming up on the 90 days or so days that it takes to flower. Yeah. So flowers start popping out. The state gets called in to do the testing and everything, and it's time to harvest. You harvest it. Some people just kind of cut it down and let it sit there in the field for, because
just like hay or straw.
As the water drops out, due to the cooler weather out of the air, the plants will dry.
Yeah.
That of course doesn't work if it's super humid out.
Yep.
Or they're probably not going to work in the south, for example.
Yeah.
But if you're in a mountainous climate, or if you're dry arid climate, or if you're in a dry arid, growing climate, or you have a cooler temperature, you can do it that way. So that's one thing. A lot of people hang them in the barn, or
just in an outbuilding.
In an outbuilding or whatever. Yeah. If you are in a humid climate, you're going to need to have some sort of way to dehumidify, and you're going to have an indoor site. So this may be a warehouse, and I've seen people, basically put them up on pallet racks, 30-foot high pallet racks, and they have the whole entire pallet rack just filled up with, hanging.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they just hang them on there.
That's good.
And then they dehumidify the room.
Walk through a whole side of hemp.
I've also seen, those shipping containers with where they put air through them, and it's dehumidified air, or even just hot air, for example, and they put that through them. The issue with that, of course, is you're losing a lot of your aromas and flavors that way.
Yeah.
So that's something.
You don't want to do that.
Heating and conveyor machines, that's another way to do it. The issue with that, of course, is that you can literally ruin your entire. You got to be very careful with your heating and conveyor machines.
Wouldn't you have to do that too? Like if you're in a boxcar, for example.
Yeah.
doesn't that heat up like an oven? And then if
It
you're
does.
blowing, I mean, aren't you having something similar? Is that going to heat it too much?
I think, I think that
gonna
a
get
lot of the
some
heating conveyor
decarb?
machines, they have like infrared on there, or they have some sort of active heater on the top, and that it's just more intense.
Okay, got it.
So the time has to be a lot less. So
What's a fluidized bed?
that is a piece of equipment that basically you can put the whole plant in, and it'll blow up, and you put them on top of a kind of perforated bed.
Okay.
And it blows up through,
Okay.
and then it can condense, for example, the aromas coming out of it. So that's what the advantage.
So it
of
just
a
kind of
fluidized
bubbles.
bed.
It
forced air.
fluidizes the buds.
Yeah,
or the
exactly. It
flower.
fluidizes the buds
and
and it
makes
goes up.
them
And it can be
percolate.
made continuous as long as it's a bucked material.
Gotcha.
So just keep that in mind. So there's different ways to do that. And we have a fluidized bed dryer. That we've also done the hanging outdoors in the barn, and we've done this indoor controlled area. So we've done it all with various.
The chuckle means there's a store.
And also we've done the sit in the field. I mean, some of the like we left an acre or so in the field, and let it dry out, and then.
That probably had the most terps.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was?
Yeah, it was nice.
I would think
So,
that it would.
Do you need to cure? Suppose you're going to have a portion of your crop that you want to maintain as smokable flour, right? Okay, if that's the case, then you're going to need to cure it. You're going to want to try to avoid the techniques that are actively and rapidly drying your product because all the terps are going to go out of it. So
You don't want that.
No, and there are these like cure technicians. They're they're craft. They're artists. They're what do you want to say it? They're honing their
Artisans.
craft. Yeah, they're artisans. Yeah, so they know how to cure. There's all kinds of different methods out there. And a lot of people have everybody has their cure method. Oh, this is the way I cure it. This is the way you cure it. Sometimes they'll even put like a tea in there, kind of like a curing tea inside of the. So what it is though is it's slowing down the process of drying.
But does it also, and when you're doing the curing of other things, you're also adding a flavor or an aroma.
So for example, your terpenes will get ripe. Let's just say. So it's a ripening process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
so
it.
That's what it is.
Interesting.
And there's different ways to do that, but a lot of people just use like blue totes or something where they put the materials in and then they let it sit for a couple days. They'll burp it, by adding more air into it and then let it sit in a cool,
I so desperately
dry
want to say,
place.
in the middle of winter, my totes get blue.
That's it. Yes. Yours too? Okay. For extraction, maybe you want the aroma notes in your oils. So, that's one thing, you're going to get some nice aroma notes if you hang it and dry it kind of slowly.
Yeah.
And so that in terms of an extract, that's probably the best.
Okay. Can you also later on, when you're capturing terps, I mean, you're also going to be able to add some of those aroma notes. I mean, this is curing, but you can also add back.
Yeah, you can. You can add that back. But if you want to use natural terps, like a lot of the volatile terps are going to go away in this drying process. So you can. A lot of people want to do. That's why they want to do like a live plant and they want to press it. Okay.
Gotcha.
So they want to do like a live resin or something like that, which is really great. It's good, nice and fresh. It's the closest thing to the actual plant. But the yield is not very good, so 50% yield or whatever, something like that. So
remember that you're going to give up yield for this process.
Right. So you got a trade-off. Just like any other process, you have a trade-off.
Which means you have to charge more for it.
You're not going to press, you're not going to take 100 acres or even 50 acres or a single acre and just throw away half of it or whatever, right?
No.
I don't know what they actually do with the buds. I mean, the 50% that's not in there, it's like a low-grade bud then. You may be able to sell that to somebody to say extract it. You know, that could be a possible way to do it.
But make sure you disclose that you did that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that what really is a problem is if you ethanol soak it first in like a tea bag and then try to ship that across the nation in a truck or whatever because it's been sitting there, it's last season's material and it's basically toxic waste because it's got acetone or IPA
and
in there
volatile.
or any of the other denaturants that come with ethanol extracts.
Wow.
Okay. So that's a no. Okay,
Yep.
don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be this guy either.
Oh my gosh, that's
Okay,
gross.
this is basically some hemp that went bad. It's a mold. So do not, you got to dry it before you put it into your super sacks. And that white thing up there is a super sack.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to be the guy who
That other
who
white thing there
delivers.
looks like a mushroom.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It might be.
It
It might be a mushroom. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So this is, basically, if the materials are wet and they're packed wet, they're going to mold.
Don't
period.
do that.
Don't be that guy. Yeah. So then, okay, there
What
you
is-
go. You're going to deliver that to your processor. What is the processor going to do? They're going to, if they're a good processor, they're going to go through an incoming inspection.
Yep.
And it'll go
Quarantine.
immediately into quarantine. They're going to look at the bag. They're going to weigh the bag. They're going to look at the bulk density and say, oh, this has got a lot of water in it. Let's look for mold.
Yep.
We don't want any mold in our facility. Sorry, you're going to have to take this back.
Yep.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, because it's dangerous. I mean, it's just bad because it can corrupt everything in the plant.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't be this guy either. that's the, yeah. Okay. So sticks and stems so a lot of people want to basically just harvest and deliver whole plant. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about grinding here in the next couple sections, but this is sticks and stems. Okay. Look, that is a nightmare for a processor.
Sticks and stems will break the bank,
Yeah.
but buds will never harm
Why would
you.
I want to waste all my time,
Yeah.
for example, extracting that?
Don't.
No, why? That's poundage there. Why would you,
Yeah.
if you're a toller, why would you want to pay for that, right?
Yeah, if you are the grower and you're paying to have that tolled,
Right.
you don't want to pay for that extra stems and sticks and
Well, that goes for
crap.
water too.
Yeah.
Like in the previous example, right? Why would you want to pay
For
to
that
have someone
weight.
toll that weight, right?
Because they're just pulling it out
Right, exactly.
or waiting for it to dry. Well, they're not doing this. But
The extractor might say, you know what? There's so much weight in here. We must just go and do
I'm
it.
still going to do it.
I'm still going to do it. Yeah. Well, then that could happen. The bacteria is not going to really make it through the CO2.
Somebody with a GMP
they
will
wouldn't
not touch this.
Would not touch it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
Hey, by the
Because they
way-
have incoming specifications.
Jumping back to the GMP
Yeah.
mention, I have seen lately this little C in front of GMP. What does that mean?
Current understanding of GMP regulations.
Current understanding. So it's not a different version.
Right.
Well, it's just the most current iteration of
Right.
GMP.
So GMP is a set of regulations that are general.
Yep.
And then the FDA has a myriad of interpretations, and they also have emphasis.
Great word, myriad.
Yeah, emphases
Yes.
on different things. Like one year they may look at, okay, we're going to look at all, data integrity, for example, on computers. Okay.
So the C will take into consideration that plethora of regulations.
The plethora. That's why I like the emphases of the plethora. Okay, let's move on
Because
here.
we could go on that.
It would
trail a
We
long
are in a
time.
rabbit trail of rabbit
And we do
trails.
that, especially with Scotch and bourbon.
Oh yeah.
Boy, then we can go down those rabbit trails like, I think we need another glass. Okay.
Well, you bourbon people, you slam your bourbon.
We
Okay.
do not.
Okay. The Scotch is just a sipping.
It's exactly the same.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, no, I've seen
not
people
really
just
sure.
kind of throw it back, but I've seen people throw it back with Scotch or
Yeah, but
bourbon.
that's ignorance.
Yes.
Ignorant.
Yes. So we're gonna have to do. We keep threatening to do the Scotch bourbon.
I think what we're
throwdown.
going to do is we're going to have to publish a tasting list. And then what we could do is have, people join in.
Hey, would you like that? Would you like to join us for a tasting? We'll send out the list and you get it, and then we'll talk about
we'll
each
taste
one
it.
as
Yeah,
we.
exactly. Yeah. And then, I have some poetry to read.
Okay.
And we will start off with bagpipes.
Oh wow. Hey,
At least for the Scotch. See, bourbon doesn't have that. What are you going to start
I
off
spoke
with?
to Aaron,
Banjo?
our-
You can start off with the banjo?
No.
You can start off with?
Well, no banjos. Are you kidding me? Maybe a little guitar, maybe other things. But I was talking to Aaron. He's got a lot of water background,
Oh, yeah?
and the water is what makes the difference in both Scotch and bourbon. It would be fun to have him do a cameo on that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I guess so. So a lot they use distilled water too.
Well, that's why Kentucky is Kentucky bourbon, because of the limestone water, that filter, and you get that flavor in the water. Yeah. And that's why Scotch is Scotch, because you get it from the moors, and it gets that peaty flavor.
Well, not all Scotch is peated.
Okay, I know.
Let's have we got to move on here.
Sorry, guys. This is what we do.
Okay, sorry about that. Here we go. We got into it.
Never mind.
We got into it. Okay, now we're going to talk about shucking and bucking.
And bucking.
This
so
is
what
basically
is shuck?
Okay. What's the shuck and what's the buck?
Well, okay, yeah. Oh,
I always wondered that.
I guess
what is
it's
the
right
bucking?
here.
I don't know. But here, look at here's a bunch of whole plants here, sitting here. You can see the sticks and stems. A lot of people literally just take and put that into a grinder. Everything gets.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, so they'll take the bud.
You're going to pay too much for that.
Look at here. They'll take the bud and they'll say, "Oh, that's got 20% CBD in it." Then they take the whole thing and then they look at it and they say, "Why is this 3%?" So that's because they took all the fan leaves and all the stuff.
That lowers your potency significantly.
By the way, here's a advanced secret of the universe. If you have, if you self-certify, like for example in Oregon. You would self-certify, okay? And one way to do that is just to, take, if you have a hot crop, what you can do is bucket and grind that stuff up and then grind up all your fan leaves and everything and then just use that as a diluent to dilute. Oh. Yes, that's one way to become compliant if you are too hot, okay? But it's also going to reduce the amount of CBD that's in there. I don't know if you guys follow that, but that does not work in other states where the state comes out and samples your crop in the
you can't do it then.
But we can talk a little bit about that later. But that has to do with your certificate of commercialability and commercial fit for commerce. That's what I was looking for. Commercialability. Okay, so moving on. Here's a buck material. Okay, that's actually all the buds here you can see.
Okay, but is that shucked or bucked? That's shucked.
Yeah, I guess so. It's shucked and bucked.
It's shucked and bucked.
Yeah, because it's just got buds there.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, and then here's some like somewhat ground material.
Is that pre-ground?
No, that's not. That comes right out of our shuck and bucker.
Yeah,
that's what that comes out. Just
okay, so that's not the shuck and that's not the buck.
No.
It's just shuck and buck. It does it all at once.
This process right here is called shuck and buck. This is really what we do to grind it. But our shuck and bucker will take it from this to this, and it will just leave a stem.
Gotcha.
There, yeah. So, there's a lot of different types of shuck and buckers that are out there. There's ones called. Where they just have like a plate and you have to cut off each of these branches and feed them in individually and it'll leave the buds there. So that's something that a lot of people do. It's very time intensive.
That would take a lot of time.
Yeah. So and then there's other ones that are on conveyor belts. Those are very they're bigger, they're more expensive, they're less portable. And we have one that we made that looks like this. You feed in the plant. Right here, you can see there's two brushes there.
So you just take the big plant, and by the end, and you shove it in. You
literally shove it in with your hand, and then you pull it out.
And you can feel it kind of rake off.
It'll rake off, and then this is what you get out of that.
Okay.
And it basically all comes down here, and then you can hook this up to a cyclone. Well, that will fill any bin you want. And this thing, you see it's got forkers on there, so you can put it on a trailer.
Oh, I love that.
Screw it down, and then you can do it right in the field if you want. Just have people.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, and it's really quick. You can do. I forget the exact numbers, but you can do 100 acres, in a matter of a week, I guess, something like that.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, it's really fast. I mean, for a small machine that's not, it's semi-automated. Okay.
Okay.
And if you get that cyclone along with it, it's even better. So
the cyclone is just kind of a vacuum. It's like a vacuum that pulls it from the bottom of this into a receptacle, whether that's directly into a super sack or another bin.
Oh, you can run this off a generator too. So you just have a generator. You plug that into the generator. Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you can do it in the field.
Yes, exactly.
Bang.
Yeah.
And
then, just let it sit in your garage over the weekend and, or over the winter, and then you use it the next summer. Or you can buy one of these and go do it for people. A lot of people are doing that.
That's a good business.
Yeah, it's a good
great revenue option.
Yeah.
Good.
So here, a lot of people are wondering whether or not to grind or not. And that means, do you want to get this material and deliver it to the processor, or do you want to deliver this type to the processor? A couple different things on that. let's kind of move on here. Yeah, right. Yeah, a couple different things. If you have just the buds, okay, and you put those into a bag, the bulk density is going to be pretty low, and so you're going to have to deliver more bags.
Yes.
And it's just going to have more volume, right?
Yep.
So that means you're going to have, probably more transportation costs, okay, because it's just more bulky.
Yep.
So you need to think about that and save on space and transportation costs. That's a real thing. It's better to try to, bring it down to a ground material, I think. But to the processor, it doesn't matter because they're going to regrind it anyway for their purpose.
Yep.
Okay.
They do. And one of the things that we do, we do a pre-grind and a post-grind. By the way, isn't that the cyclone there?
Yeah, that's the cyclone right here.
Yeah.
You can just put that onto your system and it'll suck it up and put it in one of these bins. You can have a roller bin there, or you can have a truck or whatever you want right next to it.
There's a lot of people who are doing a grind at a very coarse grind prior to decarb.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of communities that want that because they're nervous about ignition during decarb.
Right.
And so when it's a coarser material, you're not going to get that. It's less likely to do that.
But if you would, wait just a second. I mean, under decarb conditions, you're under a vacuum, right?
True.
So you're heating up under a vacuum, so you're not going to get ignition.
Well, in most instances,
if you heat
good
up your
GMP,
stuff,
it should be under a vacuum system.
The best way to do, if you take like for example, if you take a pre-roll and you light it up, that's decarbing it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's ignition, but it requires oxygen to do that.
That's true. So in a vacuum oven, it's not, but you've got to make sure that you're complying to that. Not everybody does.
Right.
And because we've seen communities have had some processing plants blow up.
Oh, well, that's because they have butane or
But they're
ethanol.
worried about everything, and so they're doing it. But one of the things that is interesting is if you process, you can decarb at that coarser level. And then one of the things that we've done now here is we will regrind after decarb.
Yep.
Because that gives you a finer, more even material that's better for extraction, and it cools it at the same time so you can extract quicker.
Yeah, right, exactly. The way I would say that exact same thing is it
would be correctly.
It tightens the particle size distribution, so that to give you more uniform and better extraction.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's go on here to the next one. Okay. The other thing, seeds in material can be an issue.
Don't be seedy.
Sometimes it's going. If you have an outdoor crop, you're going to have some seed in your material.
It's going to happen.
If it's fully seeded, it's really difficult to. It's not difficult to process, I guess. It just can produce issues downstream because the seeds typically are all ground up. They have lots of oil content to them, and your processor is going to have to deal with that downstream. When they look at your material, if they are taking out one hand of bud and one hand of seed, that is definitely a crop I would reject.
Yeah.
Just because it's going to cause problems downstream. Some of the things that we've observed is unable, with that is if you have two crops, you bring it all the way through to isolate, and you're not able to get the isolate purity you desire with a crop that has all that seed, has all that oil in there.
Yeah.
So somehow the those oils and stuff co-precipitate out, and maybe you only hit 97% purity instead of 99% purity or something like that. There's other stuff in there that's in the seed oil that is either volatile and extracting, and it makes it through the whole process so that you can.
The key is to just pull the males out of your system, out of your grow where you are.
Right.
But you still might be close to an industrial area.
Right.
And
so if you have a neighbor or something like that, someone who is basically, growing industrial hemp for fiber, that's not 50% males, approximately. So you're going to have tons of pollen in the air. So that's why, if you have, if you have an outdoor marijuana grow, you do not want to be anywhere near
not at all.
Kind of an industrial hemp grow, because that will destroy your crop. Yeah. So whatever.
Don't do that.
You guys know all that, of course. But anyway, so there's the shucking, bucking, and the drying. So we talked about the advanced criteria, advanced secrets of the world for criteria for evaluating your processor. We kind of skipped over harvest. We talked about drying. We talked about shucking and bucking. We're going to talk just slightly about packaging, and then we'll go into expectations.
Super sack.
There's super sack. It's not that hard, but that's typically how people do it. Wow,
How much
that was
do those
quick.
typically weigh?
What was that?
How much do those typically weigh?
Well, it depends on the bulk density. So if you have buds, it's going to weigh a lot less than if you have powder.
Gotcha.
Right. So it would depend on that. So they can be anywhere from 100 pounds to 300 pounds, something like that. They're typically along those lines.
Gotcha.
So setting expectations. Let's quickly delve into that. How to manage your expectations. A couple different lines of thought here, and it has to do with what you believe the oil content of your crop is, right? And you just got to have the right data. Okay, that's all I'm saying here. So if you tell the state, hey, come on out and look at my crop, I'm going to go harvest. They're going to come back to you. They're going to give you an official report that says, okay, you have 15% CBD and less than 0.3% Delta 9. You're good to go. Here's your fit for commerce certificate.
Go.
Okay, go. Okay, that 15% is not what you're going to be getting out of your crop. It's not, because you're gonna take all the buds off. Okay, you're gonna maybe not take the buds off. You got sticks and stems that still are going to be in there that are grinding up. Yep. So it's going to be diluted down. Okay, and so probably the best way to go about this that I have seen is don't cherry pick your crop.
Yeah.
Take your shuck and buck material, which is that nice material, and randomly select. Don't randomly select from each bag that you have.
Yeah.
So there are tools to do this, like a core. It's just a tube that you stick down. You just, jab it into the bag. It gives you a core of what's in there, and you put that into a bucket. And then you take all the buckets from all the bags that you have and put them all together.
All
shake
the samples
them up.
into one bucket.
Yeah, all the samples into one bucket. Shake it up. And then
take that sample.
And then you send it off to the laboratory to homogenize it. They're going to homogenize that whole sample as one lot, and then they're going to get you a number, right? And that's probably the best way.
Gotcha.
The purpose of that is not to game. The purpose of that is to make sure that you know everything about your material,
Gotcha. Yep.
so that you have the right expectation, and you can set that right expectation with everybody around you. Yep. Like your workers, if you have like a crop share going on, your investors, stuff like that. So once you get it to your processor and you say, hey, here's what I did and here's the results from it, they're going to be like, wow, we like this guy. He's not giving us, here's the fit for commerce certificate and saying this is what I think it is. Yeah. Because anybody who does that, that's not what it is. It's always going to be less than what they say it is, because you're going to be harvesting, you're going to be diluting and things like that.
Gotcha. That's
so homogenize your shuck and buck. Find out from the processor what the yield might be once you have those results, and they should be able to tell you, okay, well with that material, so on and so forth.
This many pounds. This is what you're going to do, depending on where you're going to oil or distillate or isolate.
Send some material to the processor for testing, and then find out more about the bulk market. This is basically just doing your homework. So, for example, you don't want to be the guy who thought that he could have sold his materials for $5,000 a kilo when it's actually only $2,000. Yeah. Then you're trying to find someone to blame.
And the market changes. It's a commodity. So the market fluctuates almost daily.
Right.
So you got to watch it carefully and figure out how you can differentiate to get the highest yield and the highest price for the yield you produce.
Right. So if you've done this, if you've estimated the yield, if you've done all the homogenization, you get your sample back, then you can go to our website and you can look at some of the calculators.
extractlab.com/calculators.
Yeah, and you can select a yield calculator. There are assumptions in there based on the process, okay? Sure. But it's just a good rule of thumb, for given yields and what you would normally expect. You can go to other processors and you can say, hey, here's what these guys, go back and forth. Again, Extract Lab is not processing your material. It's just a benchmark.
Yeah, it's just a benchmark, and it's going to give you acreage, how many plants typically you're putting per acre, and then how much yield you're going to get per acre, essentially. So
go to the Extract Lab, look at the calculators. It's going to help you, kind of understand what it is that, what the yields might be. But make sure you follow this. It's just not fair to go pick off a couple buds on one side of the acreage and then say, hey, here's what it is. It's 30% material, and you deliver 5% material. That actually happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then trying to take your expectation out on the processor, you probably don't want to do that. So this is also top 5 facts you need to know about testing cannabis or hemp for CBD. The rules will vary state to state. I'm talking specifically about manufacturers here, but when you have to get your crop tested, who tests the crop, it all depends on the state. Okay, so like I had already mentioned, like in Oregon, you self-certify. Yep. And in like a lot of the other places, like Minnesota or New York or whatever, you have to send it in, or you have to have a official come out. They do the sample, they get you the sample back, and then they'll give you the certificate. So the self-certification is nice, but I can see it can be a trap too. Okay, I'm self-certifying, right? And I go and I kind of put my finger on the scale a little bit in my favor, and then I try to ship it, right? Like, okay, and then it has more than 0.3% Delta 9, and you're going to get in trouble. So that's it. So problems with the test results. So there can be problems with the test results. Those are well known. I have other podcasts you can go back and look all about testing.
Yes. And
we go into each of these areas in detail. So yeah, there have been lots of problems in the testing world, and it has to do with some of the people are doing other kinds of tests, and then they add on a test that for cannabis that's not validated. So you just want to make sure that you have a validated test that you're working with.
Okay.
And these 3 I'm just going to skip, but just suffice it to say that just because you get a pass designation for like pesticides, for example, doesn't mean that your products are pure. Okay. And the rules for how much pesticides are allowed vary from state to state. Wow. So that has led to...
And the number of pesticides they test for is different.
Yeah, exactly. So that has led to basically people shopping around for tests at different states. And then they got to, here this, I'm using this. Ultimately, you're going to have to pick a state.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have done Florida a lot.
Yes.
For our testing. California is also good, but they have a pretty comprehensive list of pesticides. And then Canada is out of this world.
It's awesome. They test for everything.
Right.
It's crazy. So, I think 97 different pesticides.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. So it's pretty good. And other, toxins and all that stuff too.
Heavy metals and things.
Yep. So I'm going to skip over the rest of these, but just some top things that you need to know. Okay, why our CO2 oils are clinical grade? I have to get this in, obviously.
Go, yes.
Okay, yeah. We if you pick a processor that it does CO2, you're really avoiding the risk of having chemical residuals. So that's number one.
We've talked about that many times in previous podcasts.
You can go back and look at all of our podcasts on that. We have an axe to grind, and it's no.
No, it's because it's rue. It's not something that we're trying to support anything we do. It's just these are the facts.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It's just like we have lots of stuff on this. Our position is out there. Whatever it is, what it is. Okay. CO2 oils are easy to formulate in safe, stable water soluble oil powder formulations, so on and so forth. CO2 oils may be USDA certified, 100% organic products, and CO2 oils can be made in the widest variety of products compared to ethanol extracts.
Yes.
That has a lot to do with terpene preservation and things like that.
Beautiful.
All right. I think that we have reached the end. Except for transportation and then how to drive your processor crazy. I'll go through those really quick.
Okay.
In terms of transportation, you need a Fit for Commerce certificate. And we just discussed that.
Yes.
Who does this test? There's an issue, whether it's the farmer or the state. We talked about that. Also, with transportation, you're going to have your grow certificate or your farmer certificate for hemp. You're going to want to put that with the documentation and the processor's certificate, who you're sending it to, and the certificate of analysis. So you're going to want to have that all there in a documentation so that if anything happens, you have all your documents. Here it is, and along with numbers. The processor certificate, a lot of times your processor will say, okay, if there's any problems, have them call this number. You can call us and we can tell them, hey, this is our certificate.
And that'll get you across just about every state except Idaho.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. All right. And then how to drive your processor crazy.
Woo!
This is kind of everything that we just talked about, but
deliver
moldy material, deliver material that has been extracted already.
Oh, jeez. We talked about that,
sticks and stems and seed, metal and foreign matter and debris and biomass. Have wild expectations, unrealistic timing expectations for processing.
Yeah,
okay.
we talked about that.
And then trying to fix that business expectations through the processor.
Yeah.
I have built this all up with everybody around me that we're going to be millionaires, and now it's all your fault.
I have promised it to get it to you in, from biomass to isolate, 100,000 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah. If you want that, then that has to be contractual.
Yeah.
So put it in your contract.
Yeah.
If you say, okay, hey, look, I want this done in 3 days. Well, then you put that in your contract.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Got it.
So that's the bottom line, guys. I hope that was helpful.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks.
I like that. And I didn't see really any tables.
All right.
Good job. That was nice.
All right.
Thank you for being here. Hopefully that was helpful. Ask your questions. Thank you for all the questions that have been rolling in. We've been watching them go, but I know the team has been answering those for you. So thank you for that. We covered a lot today.
Yeah, we did.
So thank you. And we will be covering that, that there are things going on. And by the way, when we get to like the sticks and stems, when you saw that and you kind of shake it, it kind of makes it feel like a new song.
Yeah.
Like the Hempy Pokey.
Hempy Pokey.
Yeah. You put your hemp in, your sticks and stems in, you take your buds
Seeds
out,
in.
you got it. And you shake it all about. Isn't that the Shuck Buck?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's kind of
do that.
The Hempy Pokey. Yeah, that's a new thing. And by the way,
I'm following you.
You're picking up what I'm laying down?
Yeah, I'm picking it up.
All right, good. Thank you for being here. Again, we told you there's some downloads. There's some additional downloads. Ask the guys for those. They've got some other things, and I'm sure that they've been disseminating those as you've been asking questions. Mm-hmm. But we do have the Shuck Buck.
Yeah.
And the Shuck Buck, our price, typically you're going to pay for a Shuck Buck material somewhere around 30, 35 grand for that. Typically, whatever.
Depends on which one you get. The super manual ones, the slow ones those can be like 12 to 15, and then there's the fully automated.
And ours is automated. You can take it around, plug it into a generator. Ours is 20 grand.
Yes.
$20,000. So, and those are readily available. We've got them ready to ship. So if you need one, let us know. And for those of you who use and tell our guys that, the secret passcode, I think it should be the Hempy Pokey.
Okay, Hempy Pokey.
I want to do the Hempy Pokey. You're going to get another 10% off that.
So use that passcode, and then they get a 10% off. That's pretty good.
Just tell them you want to do the Hempy Pokey.
Okay.
And they'll give you 10% off the 20 grand, so you get it for 18.
That's pretty sweet.
That's a nice.
That's actually approaching the super manual slow
I'm
machines.
glad Nathan's out of town.
Yeah, exactly.
Our CFO's out of town, so we can do this kind of stuff. He's going to be so pissed off.
Well,
all right. Thank you for being here, and make sure you tell them you want to do the Hempy Pokey. We've talked about hemp. We're all in the hemp industry. We talk about hemp processing all the time, hemp processing equipment, hemp biomass, CBD processing, investing in hemp. There will be a replay of this. Don't forget. Always ask your questions. We're answering all the time. We've got the live tour, all of our stuff. So thank you. Our favorite part of this is you. for being part of our show and asking the questions. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to our YouTube list. Lots of resources. And there is a hemp survey. Is that what you're asking me to say?
This is because in a couple weeks, thanks for reminding me. So in a couple weeks, we're going to be talking all about hemp strains and what people like and dislike about their hemp strains that they're using. So we have a hemp survey going out.
Cool.
If you guys
please fill it out.
Yeah, please, because
that will help us.
What strains do you like? Are they aroma filled? Do they taste good? Do they smoke good? Do they extract good? Whatever. We want to hear. Did it have good yield on the
what strains do you like and why?
Yeah, what strains do you like and why?
And there's a survey coming out. So do that. Also subscribe to us on YouTube. Lots of resources there. Our calculator library, extractlab.com/calculators. Join our conversation on all of your favorite social media channels. We're there. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're everywhere. Subscribe. Yeah. Oh, and our podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. Yeah. Put it on. That would be great. That would be helpful.
We're on. Where are we at? We're on Stitcher. We're on
everywhere.
Apple. Are we on Google? And
I have no idea.
Yeah, we're on all of them.
We're everywhere. People are finding us, and I love it. And again, congratulations that we made the Inc. 500.
All right, that's good.
Well done. And next week, because we talked about GMP, we're going to do the top 5 reasons to be EU GMP.
All right.
To get that. Yeah. To do. So you want to be here for that.
I think that one will have some tables in it. Do you think?
I'm guessing so. I'm guessing that just about every show we have tables. Now, unless it's a wheel, which is very cool.
Okay. We can do a wheel instead.
Okay. So I want to do the Hempy Pokey, get you the 10% discount on our already reduced price Shuck Buck. So get it in, get your stuff processed, and get it done. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We'll look for you next week. Again, well done. Good show, guys. Virtual high five.
Take care. See you later.
All right. Good.
Bye now.